that just happened a month or so ago in the golf world. Thigala is his name. And he was like in contention and he was in a bunker. And if you don't know much about golf, when you're in the bunker, you're not supposed to ground your club or you're not supposed to touch any grain of sand until you hit the ball. So practice shots, when you're coming back to hit the ball, you cannot. Well, in his eye, when he went to go back, he thought he saw a couple of grains of sand move.
Mm-hmm.
And he called the official over and says, hey, and everybody was like, no, we didn't see that. We didn't see that. The TV analyst was like, we didn't see him touch the sand at all. But like, he knew that it would be better to just be honest and for his conscience to be clear than to, and they penalized him a couple strokes. And I forget what he ended up placing on that tournament. It was still pretty high, I believe. But if he would have had those 2 strokes back, it could have changed everything. He could have won millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I root for that guy so much more now. Just knowing like he wants a clear integrity.
Yeah, it matters.
I challenge you as a believer, let that power get out.
Blind people received their sight. People have been carried in. We're healed. Nobody touched them. Nobody laid a hand on them. We just praised the Lord and spoke the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Here's fishin.
Yeah, let's go! Oh my gosh, he's a pig. He landed inside.
He kept me from skunk. Look how massive this is.
The Casting Faith Podcast.
Fish on.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. All the things. Good evening. Welcome to the weekend. Welcome to Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it is that you're listening. Welcome to the show. And today we have, again, Reverend Bishop John Miller.
Let's go.
What's up, dude?
Oh,
how's it going, man?
It's great.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be back on.
Anything new? We haven't seen you in a while.
There's a lot to know.
Yeah?
There's so much I can't even think of one thing.
I can think of one thing that's new.
Oh,
yeah, these
man.
bearded men over here trying to be like Louisiana duck call men.
We got years to go.
Yeah. No, we're growing this. At least I am. I'm growing this for the Easter drama that we just did. So technically, right?
We can stay in present term. It's next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you got 1 week of this and then you won't see this for another year.
Yeah. I did tell my class, I told my wife, I'm going to come to the school with just a mustache on Tuesday.
Yes.
Don't be creepy, man. Don't be creepy.
Just to freak them out.
You
Just to see.
100% should.
I'm definitely doing it. I can't wait to see.
No.
Their
So
faces.
mustache and then cut your hair like Matt.
Yeah, I cannot wait to have a haircut.
I'm going to
so
go
excited.
100% Amish. I am going to shave the mustache, leave the rest, and
That's hilarious.
pay homage to my last name.
So what's up, guys? Anything new other than the beards?
It's warming up a little bit, so we can get out and bass fish. So that's
Hey, man, I heard you were telling me earlier before the show started, you got one already this year.
Yeah,
Tell us
one.
about it.
It was it wasn't as big as I would like it to be, but it was a good eating size, probably about 2 pounds. So
Louisiana men eat any fish.
hey,
I'm with you.
I grew up eating bass. I'll always eat bass. Don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, it's true. I've never tried it.
Really?
Yeah.
We're changing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not on my
absolutely.
boat, you're not.
Yeah. I'll open it like that. I open this can of First Form and just
You can throw them in the
fillet
live
it up.
well.
We should
Fillet it up.
definitely go bass fishing. You can keep 5.
What are you doing
each.
Sunday?
I'll go.
Church.
I will go.
After church.
Yeah.
You guys got practice.
Practice, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot. Well,
Drama practice.
I won't go.
Yeah. So you went out on Mosquito Lake with your plastic John boat?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Go big or go
That's
home.
bold.
Why did that? Why
That's
did that,
almost like Lake Erie.
Why did that sound
if the
like,
wind's right?
Why'd that sound like a shot? Like you went out on your plastic boat.
I know.
No,
Yeah.
it was
He-
not.
he didn't say
Your
that.
pathetic not a
plastic
shot.
boat.
He didn't say that until he got his boat. You know? He was like, "Oh, John,
No.
thanks for the lift.
No.
Thanks for the lift, John. Thanks for getting us back to the dock. I love that you gave us a ride." And I was like, "Yeah, your plastic boat."
I don't have a nice boat. I just have
you
an
do.
aluminum boat.
They're
It's
both-
not. It's not
Hey.
like a fiberglass.
Oh, the
said-
boat that I just hooked up to. That I'm pulling out.
I've said this before.
There's a lock on it.
I've said this before. Any boat is a nice boat to me. Growing up, not having
Yeah.
anything, like
Yeah.
my kayak's a nice boat.
Do y'all
for me.
remember the old little Tykes boats?
Oh yeah,
That was like sandboxes.
Like the sandbox.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, that was a boat to Matt and I. Yeah, that wasn't ever a sandbox.
funny
awesome.
story. Funny story. The church used to have one of those on the playground when I was growing up, and this is going to be a clip probably, but we used to have this tiny Tykes boat in the playground, and the blue slide.
Yeah.
So the playground wasn't always the gravel. It used to be mulch. It used to be fully mulched. That's what the kids used to play on. And I was out there playing with Christian and David, and we would go after service. We would just run out to the play. There was like not as much supervision when we were younger. Like we kind of just got to run. We would go out into the woods and catch frogs and go exploring. And anyways, I think it was right before service, somehow we were out just playing on the playground right before service. And we had this tiny Tykes boat, and we were like too old to probably be playing on the playground. I want to say like 10, 11 years old probably, right? I guess so you could still play. It was just getting to the age where like, what are you guys doing?
You're just going to get in trouble playing on
Yes,
the ground.
yes.
That age.
And especially because it wasn't like it was today. There was like a lot less things to play with. And somehow David and Christian convinced me to take the tiny Tykes boat and put it on top of the blue slide
That's
and get in
awesome.
it.
That's awesome.
Oh, bro.
Of course, Christian talked
And
you into
I'm
that.
like, they were like, it was the classic game of you won't, and I'm like, yeah, I will. We'll definitely do this. And we're like, I'm like, come on, we'll all do it. It'll be like Cedar Point. Like we wanted to go to Cedar Point. We were getting excited to go to Cedar Point. And sure enough, I get in this boat. We get it up top, and I get in it, and I'm like 116 pounds at that time. Like very tiny guy, and I get in the boat, we go down, and this boat's got like a little curve to it. It's not like a straight shot, and it's smooth sailing for the first part, and it gets lodged in the middle, and the boat stops.
Smooth sailing.
And the boat stops, but I go flying over the slide, and I land face first into the mulch. And have you ever seen the cartoons where the birds stick their head in the sand?
Yeah.
That's what I look like. My legs were straight up in the air.
And everybody's laughing.
And they all laughed. Yeah. and that's where the name Scarly came from.
Scarlet
Another
Charlie.
nickname.
Yeah, that was that nickname.
Wow,
that was
You
a
got
hard one.
So many nicknames.
Hard one to beat.
You know what they say about having so many nicknames? You've lived a good life.
Oh, I've lived a life.
I never heard that before, but
I just came up with that. I'm they.
that was good.
Put it on the t-shirt.
I am they.
That was pretty good.
But yeah,
There's quite a few nicknames for you. Some I can't say right now.
I'll
Yeah,
say it.
yeah.
Say it. I forget what it is, or I would say it.
No.
If I remembered. Oh, man.
No. So the craziest part of that is that we went into service, and I got like mulch wood chips lodged into my face right into worship service. It's like all of our dress clothes are messed up, and it's like I don't know. It's just not the same supervision.
We always played tackle football after service, and
used to do that
in
too.
the dark,
That's crazy.
and the grass outside of the church always had stickers, So we would be running around, and when you get attacked,
covered in
yeah, you come
stickers.
up with stickers all over.
Yeah.
Man.
Charlie probably didn't know what stickers are.
No, but I grew up in Texas,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
so you couldn't really go barefoot out there. We called them stickers too.
Yeah, that gets all up in your.
I remember
feet. They had the
when my
Couple
mom lived
more.
in Florida, I stepped out in the grass in bare feet and didn't really understand what fire ants were
oh yeah,
until that moment.
Dude, another funny story about fire ants. It used to be a holly bush. Were you in the middle of a story?
oh
blanked out.
I know
Okay,
the holly
sorry.
bushes.
So the holly bushes at the church,
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
pokey
remember
ones?
those.
Yeah, there were holly bushes, and it was a men's work day, and Pastor was like, so like growing up with Christian and Pastor, I would always go to their house a lot. Like I was there a lot. Like he calls me, before you came along, I was his second son.
Chuck
Sorry.
Thunder.
and so John marries into the family, and now I'm the third son, I guess, technically. So
Sorry.
it's okay. But growing up, I went over there a ton, and I'd stay the night, they'd feed me, and then we would go do work at the church on Saturday. And this particular Saturday, we were moving these holly bushes, digging them out, getting rid of them, moving them out. I'm like, okay. So he gets the chain and stuff. We start digging it out, and he gets the chain to his truck, starts pulling it out. But I had to get into the hole to lift up the root bulb out of the ground. And I'm standing there, and I'm pulling, and we get it out. And I'm like, all right, great job. We start to throw it into the truck, and I'm like, and I'm like, in pain. All of a sudden, just like little bites everywhere. Turns out there was a colony of fire ants right under that holly bush. They're going up my legs. They're all over me. And we're in the back of the church parking lot. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
just losing stuff, like trying to get it off of me and go into the back where the hose is to spray off. It was so painful. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I just had a fire ant experience in Florida a couple of years ago on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how, if you get wet, they don't really die in the water. They'll just float on the top, and then they'll still get on you and still continue to bite. Yeah, it was fun. Brought me back to childhood. I didn't realize they had fire ants up here. I
didn't either.
Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just regular ant. Whatever they were, they hurt and it burned when they bit me. So
Sounds like a fire ant.
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that.
Have you ever heard of the cow ants?
Uh-uh.
Oh, they're like orange and black. You should definitely look them up. You should look up the fire ant, cow ant bites, what it does to you.
Have you seen, did Coyote Peterson do that?
Sure he did.
He's
He's
done
done
all of them.
everything.
Yeah.
So, but it'll put a big hole in your hand. It's it's poisonous. So yeah, cow ants. Look that up. It's orange and black. If you ever see them, you'll know. Never seen one up here, but in Louisiana, they're everywhere.
Oh, wow.
That's like a bee. It's like a wasp ant.
Trust me.
That's orange and yellow.
It's very unique, and it comes with a bite. And you
Has a
let
stinger
that
and everything.
you let that bite you one time, you'll never mess around with them. Yeah.
Man, it's wild how many things. And that's the beautiful thing about Ohio.
Yeah,
There's hardly anything like that.
It's not the beautiful, not the beautiful thing of Ohio.
the weather.
The weather.
Well, I mean, just for
Come on.
Listen, I went out on the boat.
How is West Virginia better?
I went out on the
Explain.
boat 2 weeks ago, and it was 70 degrees.
And it was 30s this morning.
And this week, I've been worried about making sure there was no water in the hall or something because it's under 30.
It's one of those things though. Like we brought it on kind of because it was 70 when we recorded, and we were like,
We didn't bring
spring,
nothing on.
Spring is here.
We didn't bring
Spring
nothing
is
on.
here.
When they seed the atmosphere with their
Here
trails.
we go. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Here we go.
I am such a realist, so I love listening to like the last episode that aired. This is so not up my alley, but I'm interested. I'm such a realist. Like anything that I like read, anything that I like, yeah,
It's funny.
So you don't think that any of the conspiracies that we talk about have any legitimate
He said they were interesting.
legitimacy?
I think they are interesting. Sometimes I think people have wonderful stories because they're on drugs, they're hallucinating,
I was not.
or they stay relevant. They're trying to stay relevant. I'm not saying biblical. I mean, what is it? The great is the mystery, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely. But when it comes to, like, I'm not saying anything about your story about all that.
Oh yeah, no,
But
it's okay.
Oh,
There is a reason. There is a reason.
That's
There
how I
is
am.
something.
That's how I am.
You
Very
know,
analytical. there has to be an explanation.
I'm very much
Yes.
that way.
Same.
Oh, I agree. The whole point of
I still think there's has to be something with your guys' Mogador story that
here's the
has to
thing.
make sense.
Here's the
somewhere.
thing. My whole point with that is that there's some instances where you'll just never know,
Oh, I agree.
and
Yeah.
there are unexplained things that happen, and you gotta have an answer. And sometimes the answer doesn't make sense to everybody.
No, I
You know?
agree with
And
that.
sometimes you just don't get an answer, and you still have to navigate that thing. You know. So
When I first moved to Ohio, I had all these stories, right? I've lived in a couple of different countries. I've had all these stories, and people would say, "I don't believe you." Like they were talking amongst themselves, like, "I don't believe you." And then there's a friend of mine, her and her husband were like, we didn't really believe you. They had me over for dinner and stuff, and they're like, "But now sitting here talking to you, you have the pictures to prove it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I've lived through some funny times, and I always try to take a picture of something, right?
Yeah. All right, let's hear a story then.
Oh,
No pressure.
Right on the spot.
No pressure.
Cut them off and just
what kind of
Tell
story
'em
you
what
want to
story.
hear? Fiction or?
I don't know.
I hope you got something, man, because you just killed it. I'm just kidding.
Well, you're gonna be editing this for sure. So,
I do not edit.
So
You're
you know
gonna
what's
have to on
funny?
this
We're
one.
talking about fishing, right?
Yeah.
I do have a story for you while you think of something else. So when I lived in Bangladesh,
Mhm.
okay, you would, if you wanted to fish, you would go to the fish market, and this blew my mind. Okay, so we had a lady helping us like cook and stuff like that when we were there, and helping us shop because they're the language barrier when we first moved over there. You literally go to the market and you like haggle. It's like there's no set price. Okay, if you're a foreigner, you're paying a lot more than everyone else.
A lot
so
more.
you would try to get a local to buy your stuff a lot of times until you learn the language, and then you can kind of haggle down, and you find out what things really cost. So over there, if you want fish, you're bringing home live fish, and until you're ready to cook the fish. Okay, I woke up one morning, and the lady that was helping us, we called her Mashi, we called her Aunt. Okay, she was really close to our family. She had woke up, she had got there really early. On her way in, she stopped by the fish market, and I walk in our kitchen, and I'm like, wiping the sleep out of my eyes, and I look, and there's fish swimming in our kitchen sink. Wow, I am not in America.
Grab a pole.
So anyway,
That's cool, man.
That's funny. I would have got
What was the fish?
I can't
You don't
really
remember?
recall. No.
So was that a primary source of protein over there, or was it other things?
They eat a lot of fish.
Yeah.
In Bangladesh specifically, they eat meat. It's an Islamic nation, so they eat anything but like pork and stuff. So, but
Did
right
you
across
guys
the
ever
border-
eat pork while you were there, or was it just
not
like a
that I
custom
recall?
thing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Probably
sure
hard
they
to
have it
find.
available somewhere. But no, I've never ate it there. But right across the border into India, it's quite different. A lot more fish available because a lot of them, they're not eating meat, but a lot of them do eat fish, depending on what you believe. But so yeah, but fish was a big like fish curry, amazing. Yeah, very good.
It's crazy, like when you think of like diets and stuff. How Brother Fred's a vegan.
Yeah.
And there's keto, there's all kinds of different diets out there. And the one that always, and even just learning the food back in the day where there was a food pyramid that was completely wrong and backwards and all the things. But you would learn that fish wasn't meat. And it's like, how is fish not meat?
Poultry, right?
Well,
Chicken's meat. Poultry's a bird.
well, so that's a big debate.
But how is fish
It's
not
a big
meat?
debate. I mean,
It's a living creature. It's
I'm gonna
protein.
get
It's
clipped
meat.
on that one.
it's a big
Yes,
debate.
you are.
I tried to play it off like I was just kidding.
But I do know there's a lot of people that don't eat meat, but they eat chicken. It's like, yeah, that's meat.
That's meat too.
Yeah.
It just always makes me laugh because I'm like, for me, my favorite is steak, right?
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
nice ribeye, delicious.
Dude, my
Bone-in
favorite
ribeye.
is burgers.
Yeah, beef is.
Speaking of burgers,
Let's hear it.
remember how I said for my birthday we were going to go to that
Yeah.
the farmer's rail?
Farmer's rail?
Yeah, we never went.
I never went.
Oh,
We never went. We ended up going to Coach's Burger Bar in Austin Town, which is right up here, like Niles. It's called Coach's Burger Bar. literally the best burger I have ever tasted in my entire life.
Really?
Anna said the same thing. Trenton said the same thing.
Now I got to know, was it
the best?
Smash burger?
All kinds of stuff.
was it thick or was it a thin patty?
It was thick. It wasn't a smash burger. It was like a normal, like juicy burger, like, and it was topped with like these little onion string things, like fried. I had the barbecue, like whatever one. There were so many different like burgers, dude. Coach's Burger Bar in Austintown, the best hands down burger ever.
Dude,
the best.
so when you order your burger, so when I think of best burgers, when I was younger, I used to think it was Five Guys, right? Fast food joint.
It is pretty good.
That's good.
That's a solid, like that's a tier above McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean,
McDouble,
they're making it
you know?
fresh. I mean, to order.
And then I went to the Rail, like as a young adult, I went to the Rail and I was like, there's a whole nother burger outside of Dad's Grill. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole nother level to burger. And I went there and I was like, this is the best burger I had. And since then I've had
we have
different
to
places.
get a group of guys and go to Coach's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It's
good.
so good, man.
One of the best burgers I've had.
So we can
was-
fish Lake Milton and then go to
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
to Coach's.
One of the best burgers I had, the guy was taking the two patties, and when he was making it, he was kind of making two patties together, but he was like making a hole on each side.
Mhm.
And with him, when he was mixing the burger meat,
You put the
he
cheese
was
in it.
putting the blue bag, what is it? The Cool Ranch Doritos,
Oh, wow.
smashing it up
That's
in
cool.
there. And then he was taking cheese and he was stuffing it.
USA.
I'm telling you right now, that's still the best burger I've ever eaten. And that was, I was a senior in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny. I don't know if I would put chips in it. I put chips on my bologna sandwich.
Listen,
Yeah, I did too.
I don't even know if the chips added anything. I just know it was like amazing.
So when you order these burgers, though, do you order it well done or do you order it with
Medium.
pink?
It comes how they cook it. They
That's
have
how yours
chefs
is. That's like
at Coaches. I'm
is
talking
this
about
like a
at Coach's.
sit down place?
Yeah.
Okay, when you were saying chefs, I'm like, oh, this is not like
it's another.
It was expensive. It for me and Trent and Anna, the bill was like $90.
Oh.
Okay,
Well,
80
I trust
$90.
your.
Yeah.
Trust your.
I think it's like
burger was
$20
good.
to $25 a person, something like that. Plus tip.
It better be good.
better be the
Dude,
best.
So good.
It better be good.
So oh my gosh.
Another great.
I need to go
restaurant
right now.
No, a burger.
Kitchen Social,
Yeah.
great restaurant.
Man. Yeah. So, but it always weirded me out that fish was never a part of the meat category.
Yeah,
And it's like, yes, it is. It was always a part of. Okay, so on the food pyramid, it was always part of the protein category. But like right now for Lent, lots of people are only
Yeah.
eating fish,
yeah.
and it's like, but that's meat. Like that's not meatless.
For me, like
I don't understand how it's not meat. You're killing an animal to
you're
eat
eating
it.
around the bone, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
That's a meat.
I don't understand the whole Lent thing because it's not really our practice. But what I love about it is McDonald's 2 for $6 fillet of
You're
fish.
back at McDonald's again.
No, just
Oh,
every now and then I'll get
You'll dabble.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
well, 2 right now.
2%. I don't want to lose money.
They're so good.
I mean, a deal's a deal.
They are good. They are
What if
good.
they'll sell you half to get it?
They're
Yeah.
good.
It makes fun, like the specials, right? Oh, the special of the day. When you have a special, don't get the special. That means they had leftovers from the day before and they're trying to get rid of it.
Wisdom.
You're eating old food.
Man.
Yeah, it's like the day olds Dunkin' Donuts or wherever any donut restaurant or
Dunkin' Donuts.
restaurant, whatever.
I wouldn't mind to ever enter into another Dunkin'
I love
Donuts in my
Krispy
life.
Yeah,
Kreme.
Dunkin' Donuts is terrible.
Krispy Kreme.
I had a Krispy
When the light is on,
Yes.
I had a Krispy Kreme donut on my way here.
not from
No,
Krispy Kreme.
from McDonald's.
Yeah, wrong.
It
No,
still
actually, they're
goes.
pretty good
They
from
were
there.
good.
Yeah.
When Brother Woodward was here
Yeah.
this past weekend, he literally brought me back. He's like, oh, I was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, not far from where I'm like, he goes, there was a Dunkin' Donut, a Krispy Kreme. I was like, I know the one. Whenever we drive to Louisiana and we pass through Hattiesburg,
Yeah.
if that light's on, we stop in.
Yeah.
You have to.
You can literally like just slurp them down
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're warm.
Oh, they're so
By the
good.
way, if you do get them colder and they're not hot, whatever, take them
Microwave.
home.
6 seconds. Oh,
7 seconds.
7, not 6, because 6 is a bad number.
4.6 seconds.
Make them heavenly. Make them heavenly.
Melt in your mouth. It's dangerous.
They're so good. Hey, speaking of burgers and Krispy Kreme
I
donuts.
love
The
Krispy Kreme
Firehouse
burgers.
The Firehouse restaurant on the Circle.
Yeah, they do Krispy Kreme burgers.
As the bun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I've
It
had
felt
that
like
at
abomination.
The Ohio State Fair is the first time I've had that, and it was so good.
I just had it in Pigeon Forge. I went to
nice.
downtown Flavortown.
So good.
Guy, what's his name?
Sierra.
I went to his restaurant.
Ferrari.
And I had
Ferrari.
I had the donuts, and he had like bacon sprinkled on top of the donuts.
People don't understand. My wife hates sweet and meat together, and or sweet and salty. But
It's
I
like the
love
best.
it. It's the best.
A nice
combo.
barbecue burger, like a cowboy burger with the barbecue, so the sweet barbecue sauce.
I'm a condiment guy.
You're gonna like Coaches if you
It's
like
so good.
barbecue burgers.
I love all burgers. I'm no discriminator of burgers, and I also love all fish,
I love fish.
except for I wouldn't eat. We went over that the last episode, the ones that I wouldn't eat, but I don't understand like why people don't eat more of what they catch. And we talked about it a little bit earlier about how you say I've always eaten bass.
Yeah.
I've had that. I've eaten largemouth. I have like a very structured way of doing it though. Like I'm not gonna catch a 5-pounder bucket and then go fillet it. Like that's not one.
No.
Probably not gonna even taste good. If
No,
that
No,
big. Now,
there's a good size.
You're calling off the ones that are competing with those big fish that everybody wants to catch at the tournament. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I know this is a like heated deal in the community, but like that's the point. The point is that number one, if you haven't had it, you can't have an opinion. My
Sean.
opinion.
Yeah,
You can't really have an opinion, not you, but all the haters out there.
me.
If you haven't had it, you can't say it's disgusting because you've never had it. 1. 2, you can't say that we're ruining bass or destroying trophy fish, because what we're actually doing is we're taking the
Quite opposite.
competition away from those bigger fish so that they can thrive and reproduce. If all of the fish live in these reservoirs and these ponds are overrun with these bluegills, they're all competing with each other, and you don't get big fish that way.
I don't know if you could do a quick search, but the amount of food a bass has to eat in order to gain 1 pound. Now, it's a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, all these little smaller bass, they're competing. If you don't get them out of there, what happens is none of them are able to grow to a nice big size bass. And I was talking to a guide down in Florida that guides some of the Disney property and bass fishing excursions and stuff. And they made a big problem down there because when the one kid got eaten by an alligator, they started removing all alligators out of the waters around Disney property. And so they'd get rid of them. And so what did that create? What does alligators eat on? A lot of times they'll catch bass and stuff. They'll eat some of the smaller bass, some of the bigger bass too. But then what that created, and they don't allow you to take bass out of Disney property waters, even if you're going on like a guided bass trip. You know, you throw everything back. And so, you know, once upon a time you can go catch trophy bass, but now it's all these 2-pounders.
Yeah.
They're not very big. And when you're pulling them out of the water, eagles, the bald eagles have really come back in that area big time. So now all they do is sweep down, and they're
USA.
Yeah. They're trying to come down, and you'll pull up these bass and they got like claw marks all on their side from where the eagles try to grab them and stuff.
So I did look it up. It roughly takes 10 pounds of forage, bait fish, insects, crawfish, all those things for a bass just to gain 1 pound.
Just imagine that.
Wow.
That's a lot.
So you're thinking of that, scale that out to these reservoirs. Well, we did the research on when the last time they stocked our favorite fishing spots are. It's been a long time. And that might be the reasoning behind it. Now thinking about it.
Crazy.
The biggest fish I've caught out of Mogador is 6 pounds.
That's
that
why
was really big for Mogador, in my opinion.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's probably why bass in West Branch don't do well, is because they stock that every year with muskie, and muskie are eating everything, including bass.
Yeah.
That's probably why bass fishing in West Branch is awful.
I've never had good luck there.
Yeah.
So-
I've caught a couple like less
I caught
less
a
than
white,
ones,
some
like
kind of white.
1.5 pound. That's it.
Matt said he did very well there, but there again, he didn't catch nice size ones.
Yeah.
It was just the quantity.
And it really comes down to that how many are in there, what they're competing against, and like the selective harvest that we were talking about. Like you can't just not keep them all the time. I'm all for catch and release. And I don't want it to seem like I'm just the guy out there taking everything, but like if you don't selectively call off some, then you're not going to get the bigger stuff in the reservoir.
It depends on what mood I'm in.
Did you see how many big fish came out of Gunnersville? Did you watch any of the Red Crest MLF last weekend?
That was last weekend. Yeah, I watched. It was on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was like last second. One of the guys that was trying to make the weekend, he caught one at the last second to get him into the weekend. That was pretty exciting.
So that tournament was crazy. So Dustin Connell won that like back to back. He won them last year too on Lay Lake. But have you ever fished Gunnersville? Is that anywhere close? That's probably like northern Alabama or something.
Yeah.
So like everybody was sticking to the pretty much like within like a 30-mile radius of where they launched. And dude, this guy to win the championship was like watching like all week in practice, and then the first 2 days of making the first cut, nobody was catching. He's watching Score Tracker, and like the weights were not up high. He's like, dude, it's so slow. Like we got him to do something. And he ran 70 miles up the river and was fishing in Tennessee.
Oh my word.
And he won with like almost a 90-pound bag.
Wow.
On championship day.
That's
he caught 90 pounds of fish in one day to win.
That's unreal.
But he made a 70-mile trek away from everybody to get up towards like the dam with flowing water. And he was in Tennessee. Everybody else was in Alabama.
That's hilarious.
What's that quote about the well-worn
And he
path?
still won.
He won.
Yeah.
How is that in the like? You just go.
It doesn't matter. So Lake Gunnersville, as far as you can go.
As long as
That's
you're
the
on the
boundary. Yeah.
Now, if he had, speaking of following rules, obviously he had a fishing license.
Oh, I thought you were going to say forward-facing sonar.
No. We're gonna leave that alone.
No, these
for
guys
today.
probably have license for every state.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, if you're fishing here and then you cross the river,
You definitely have to have a Tennessee license.
You have to have both.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Imagine if you made the mistake.
That's like that lake up here, Pymatuming. I can't even say that one. That's in Ohio and Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure, and you got to have a license for both. But yeah, dude, 70 miles to get away from everybody to find fish.
Hey,
it's crazy. That just like goes to show, like at West Range. I was telling Anna this. Like, so we're trying to find out where they're at right now. They're not spawning yet. They're not even pre-spawning. It's been too cold. So we're fishing like 2 times we went out. We were fishing banks, thinking like summer fishing tactics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And dude, they're just not up there yet. And so they're in there.
Yeah.
You just got to make a run and find out where they're at. And so that's like the advantage of a boat.
sometimes, when you're catching them now, it's not because they're hungry. You just got their attention.
Yeah.
It's like, there's you're just like jerking something
just,
right in front of their face.
It seems like it's just about finding them. That's like kind of what I gathered from the Red Crest this weekend was everybody was catching some fish, but they were like 20, 30 pounds. I think second place did well. The guy grew up fishing Gunnersville that was in second. So he found like a good bank, had a pile of smallmouth, and they were all like, the minimum weight was 2 pounds for these fish. So he was catching like 2.5, 3 pounders. And then, you just got me off my train of thought.
minimum was 2 pounds.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody was catching. So third place was like 40 pounds.
Wow.
And then like everybody else, this is like the top 10 of the day for the championship. Everybody else is like 20, 30 pounds. And Dustin Connell had an almost 90 pounds, like 87 pounds.
See, I feel
he just knew like,
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the point is like,
you just gotta find
if you're not catching them here, you can catch them somewhere.
Yeah.
You just gotta find out where they're at.
And that's true.
And throwing the right thing.
And that's true in every
and
season.
You know what he threw the whole time? Crush City
There we go.
Mooch Minnow, Crush City Freeloader. I've got like 10 packs of them.
He sends me a picture. He sends me a picture the other day, and it's just the boat is
Crush
full
City.
of these soft.
Yesterday I bought 6 more.
Oh my god, we got to get him off of Bass Pro or Bass Pro. You need to sponsor this podcast.
He doesn't catch one bass on those this year.
That'd be so
He catches
funny.
them on like a Texas
Yeah,
rig or wacky
I'm gonna have those little tiny swim baits from Berkeley Power Rates and still.
I've caught a couple of decent bass with those,
Yeah.
but I've not had. I know you've had good luck with them.
Oh man.
I've not.
Hey, Casting Faith crew, let's talk about something that keeps us running strong. Literally, we're proud to partner with First Form, the leader in premium nutrition and supplements.
These products aren't just for gym rats, y'all. First Form has something for everyone. Whether you're in the gym, in the woods, or on the water chasing steelhead or bass, protein powders, pre-workouts, vitamins, greens, you name it, they've got it.
And here's the best part. When you shop through our link, you're directly supporting this podcast. Every order you make helps us keep doing what we love, talking faith, fitness, and fishing just for you.
So don't wait. Level up your health, fuel your passion, and support the Casting Faith podcast. Click that link and get started with First Form today.
You know what?
Just a couple here and there.
Christian has had the best luck with just tying on a bluegill.
I know. I've been with them.
Like a live one?
Yeah.
There's that pond in Stowe.
Yeah, he took me there. That's a terrible pond. For both experience, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, I'm never coming back here." But it's a good. He caught buckets.
I literally went online and I bought a little bluegill that has got swims just like the bluegill just for that pond.
That's hilarious.
He took me there twice, and he was like, "Bro, last week I got this."
It was a big one.
He's got videos of it. Yeah,
and they're sitting, and you can see them.
Yeah.
There's
I had
no
just
structure.
left.
It's like the saddest like aquarium type pond there is. Bro, there's
like fishing Bass Pro pond.
It really did feel like that.
The tank.
you can put a kayak in there now.
And I told him, I was like, what if I put my kayak and I'm just out in the middle? All these people are just around.
They just built a brand new aluminum like walkout, and they have the plastic where you can set your
The rollers.
Yeah.
But I was pitching my stuff at this fish, and it was right there, and it would follow it a little, but it would not bite. They were so bite shy. Like the only thing they're gonna eat is an actual fish on.
Well, they can see you.
That's the thing. It was horrible both times.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I mean, this is probably 2 years ago, last time I was there, a guy was doing like an online fishing tournament. And he's like, I just need one more fish.
I hate those because
Just need
of
one more
that.
fish.
Because of that.
And he's got like a little Texas rig right by the bank, and there's just like 2-pound bass just sitting there, and he's just teasing it.
Yeah.
And it finally grabs it, pulled up, got the picture.
Yeah.
Man.
I was like, man, because there's no rules to that. As long as
Yeah.
you catch it on a legal body of water,
Yeah.
there's
That's
no
why
rules.
I hate that online tournaments I will never be a part of, because you can go to those.
Aren't we kind of in that with Chasen?
No, it's just like a little fun thing.
Angler's wager.
Well, I can tell you though that it is kind of fun when bringing some competition into it.
Yeah.
But like, depends on what mood I'm in. If I have time after I go fishing, and like Ashlyn and the kids are like, "Hey, bring some fish on," I'll do it.
Yeah.
But there are days where I'm like, I'll only have 2 hours to fish, 4 hours to fish.
Oh,
I will go out there and catch release all day long.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if I know I have time, then I'm out there trying to catch
For me,
dinner for a couple of nights.
it really is species specific for me. If we're steelhead fishing, I'm not leaving the lake without taking them home.
You've got to cook me some steelhead, because
Bro, I'm leaving.
still not. I've tried.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not preparing it right.
You can't cook it like, I mean, you could, and I have. It's best if you treat it like salmon.
I don't have much
So if you don't
experience cooking salmon.
yeah,
so.
if you don't like salmon, like I'm not deep frying this. I'm not like pan frying.
I love salmon.
Yeah.
Prepared by a restaurant. I haven't
Yeah.
tried it
So
myself.
you gotta find a recipe like that. We've done several. Hillary's done like a walnut crusted one.
So
was
that sounds good.
She's done a
I'm not crazy about eating
teriyaki.
fish, period.
she's like a teriyaki.
I just don't like it.
Really,
Bluegill?
Any fish.
really.
Man.
It's just,
But you like the fillet of fish.
yeah.
Does not compute.
It's McDonald's.
So have you ever had a
Computes.
bluegill?
Doesn't compute.
No.
Okay. So y'all prepare them different than we do.
Oh, I've heard. You just deep fry the whole thing and eat it like a chip.
Yeah,
Like this whole like the story of Christian and Droopy going in the fridge eating catfish is like, ew. Why would you want to?
Have you had it though? Bro.
Have
you had it? Have you had it?
Man,
I've had catfish. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you haven't had it, or if you haven't had it right,
I've had catfish.
that doesn't make sense.
And I don't like it.
I mean, I know the steps that my grandmother took to make these, right? But like, she just does it different. And one thing I regret before she died, many years before she died, but like every time I go back to Louisiana, I would take a dish that I loved that she made, and I would make it with her so I know how.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. One thing I never did was her catfish, and I regret that. So yeah. Probably won't eat catfish like that again.
I think so. Anything fried for like you like fried perch. You like fried perch?
Perch is all right.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I do.
It's a little sweeter.
What I've found
In my opinion.
with how you prepare it is, and I'm gonna get hate for this, but all white fish kind of tastes the same.
Are not all fish white?
No,
What?
no. Like all
There's dark meat in fish?
Besides
the bloodline?
salmon.
So you think of like
steelhead's not white.
cod is a very like white
You-
fish.
Like catfish can get real
Like
yellow.
Captain D's
you know.
fish? I love Captain D's.
I don't even know what that is.
They don't have Captain D's in the South.
What is Captain D's?
It's
Obviously,
a
not.
restaurant. That's like Long John's, but it's Captain
Who
D's.
is who?
It's blue and not
I've
yellow.
never darkened the doors of a Long John.
I've said this. I've said
You
this
sound like
to
such an
someone.
old person when you said, I darken the doors.
You eat Long John Silver's?
Never in my life.
Okay, so here's the
Really?
question. Big
Never?
question.
No.
What?
I grew up in Louisiana. Am I going to go to a fast food fish place?
Dude, oh my.
Who's eating? Time out. Who's eating at Long John Silver's anymore?
I don't know how they're still
Who's
open.
keeping them alive?
Sean.
I
Sean.
actually haven't been there because I don't know where one's at.
Then you like bass
There's
and you
one in-
like catfish and
No,
that's
There's one in Minner.
It's the flakiness.
that's what I'm saying. It's how you prepare it.
There's one in Canton.
cup.
Was probably out of business now.
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day. I saw a commercial and I went, "How is this place still open?"
The Hush Puppies is how.
So no. Go buy hush puppies from the store and no. See, like I grew up with us doing that ourselves.
Yeah.
So how am I going to go to?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do. So my point is, you'll like
prayer.
you can prepare it the same way. Pretty much any of the fish that we're fishing this summer, you can prepare the same way that Long John Silver's does, and it will be better.
That's
than what
how
they
we
do.
prepare steelhead.
You're doing it wrong then.
You're comparing Steelhead to Long John Silver's.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know,
No, I would rather have Long John Silver's than steelhead.
but it is all meat, right?
In my opinion.
And mine-
Or poultry. One of the depending on
I just went to the museum in Tennessee. Well, not a museum, but a aquarium.
aquarium.
And they had the fish that can walk on land.
So was that at the Ark or?
No, that the Ark's in Kentucky.
Oh,
This
okay.
was in Gatlinburg.
Gotcha.
They have a big aquarium in Gatlinburg. We got to we paid a little extra to get on this boat and float on top of the aquarium and all
That's
the
cool.
sharks and
That's
stuff
cool,
swimming
man.
underneath you and stuff.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Well, I got a story. Finally, all right. I don't know
Are we
where we're
going
at.
to a music story? Or?
If you want to, it doesn't matter. This episode is just
Like, this is our
kinda
first
hang
time
out.
doing it, so.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. So
Welcome to episode 25.
25. That's wild. 25 episodes.
Time flies.
Time flies. But this story is about some poachers.
Of poultry.
Poachers of fish. Okay. So we all
That's
agree.
what I said.
No. Birds. Poultry.
Fish fly. They have wings.
Some fish fly, and those are cool. Have you seen the flying? You get me off track. Did you see the flying fish? It's okay.
Have you ever seen fish jump in your boat when you run across?
I've seen the
water?
boats that go.
Never happened to me.
Are
Yeah,
flying.
that'd be crazy.
Can you keep
Smack
it, or
in
is
the head.
that?
You seen that
is
one
that
kid,
foul
that
hook?
video of the kids getting hit?
Yeah.
Is that foul hook though? Is that like the same rule? If it flies into
That's
your
just
boat,
a
do you
blessing
keep
from
it?
the
Foul,
Lord.
foul because it's flying chicken.
Foul
A
fly fish.
hook never went into it. So
Yeah, so you get to keep it. Is that a legal means of catching? Rules are weird though, right? So with fishing, you can have separate rules on the body of water. You can have them. It doesn't. different species have different limits. You can, if you catch it on its fin, you can't keep it because that's foul hook. Like there's so many rules with fishing.
If you're floating down someone's private property versus standing in
Right.
the,
If you're standing on there's
The ground is private. The water is
you
public.
could find me on the little tykes on somebody's boat.
get that boat from that slide.
I'm
and
not
just
anchored.
Get going.
I'm legal.
But
As long as you're anchored, you're not anchored.
there are so many rules to follow, but some rules are pretty, like, when you're doing, and we've all made mistakes, right? I'm sure at some point in your life, you've made a mistake.
Of the rules?
Yes.
I will tell you one right now.
Yes, let's hear it.
Okay. So when you own a boat, there's all kinds of safety stuff you have to have. Like if
life
it's above 16 feet, like there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
Fire extinguisher.
Yeah, mine's 17.7. And I thought I had everything. I got my fire extinguisher, my throwable PFDs for everybody, and
Certain lights.
an extra. Right? Got all the lights. I was like, all right, I'm covered. I think that's everything. And dude, I'm registering the boat this week, and they give me this thing, and I'm reading and I'm like, I have to have an anchor. Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Legally, I cannot run the boat without an anchor on it.
Yeah.
What?
So
it's over 16 feet. You
Yeah.
have to have an anchor.
And
I will never anchor.
And you
I have
can
a spot lock. That's about it.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
so
understand.
It's easy.
But I broke the rules because I
Yeah.
was out twice without
Yeah.
an anchor.
And when I first got my kayak, I did not know you needed to have a life jacket. Chase, I'm sorry. I did not know you needed a life jacket on the vessel. And I remember David used to work at the marina, and I was out on the reservoir fishing, Mogador Reservoir, in the triangle. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm on the reservoir and I'm fishing, and he calls me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, the game warden is here. Do not come back to the dock if you don't have your life jacket. He's ticketing people right now."
That's funny.
And I'm like, so I spent another 3 hours, and he called me back when the game warden left. I didn't know, though. It wasn't like that I went out understanding that I needed one and was like, forget that. Now I always have one.
Well, when me and Justin went kayak fishing at West Branch, the game warden showed up in the parking lot. My boat wasn't. My registration was outdated. And I was like, all right, we got to stay out here for a little bit longer because the game warden's literally right there by my car.
There's little mistakes like that. And I've done it with fish species too, where I won't say what and when and where, but for legal reasons. But I was fishing
Yesterday.
and I kept a fish that was supposed to be, it was like I think the minimum was 9 or 10 inches, and it was a 9-inch fish. That's against the law. That's poach. Like,
what's the law of time? Certain time has passed.
But
It doesn't matter
this was a long time ago, like
I can't
years and
remember
years
the
and
word
years.
for it.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah,
has
they
passed.
talk about it all the time with
The bass
Uncle
supposed to
Si.
be- Yeah. Bass is supposed to be like 12 inches.
Yes.
So me and Matt were just talking about, like, we're going to just get a permanent marker, and we're going to mark a couple places on the boat. That way it's just easy. Okay.
So
a lot of times you just eye it.
yeah, and if you don't know, or like I know, and I didn't keep it. I let it go. I was on West Branch, and I had caught what I thought was like a white crappie, and it wasn't. It was a bass, and it was some kind of like special
Hybrid.
It was like a hybrid bass where it was the legal size for crappie, but it wasn't the legal size for this bass. And so I let it go because I wasn't sure. Right.
Yeah.
And so there's times where you're out there and you're fishing, you make mistakes. It's a little different than intentionally going out and being like, all of these are going in my freezer, I'm poaching. Right. Like, I think there are certain people that just do bad things, right? There's certain anglers out there who same in the hunting area, where they are just out for the meat. They just want the meat. They're going to get what they want, and they're going to hurt whoever and take whatever they want to take and not abide by any of the rules and guidelines. And so our story today comes from Georgia, and it's about these guys. Okay, this has got to be one of the dumbest stories I've heard in recent time about poaching. Okay. And so these guys were out there, and they were fishing, and they weren't fishing with a net. They weren't fishing with fishing poles. They were spear fishing. So they're in the water, and they're spear fishing, and they're taking all kinds of bass, all kinds of different things. And turns out, like, the game warden gets up on them. He finds them, right? And they're trying to bury the evidence in trash bags. Okay. And so the game warden shows up, And he finds these guys with all of this evidence. These dudes didn't have a reel, they didn't have a rod, and they had a whole bunch of fish that they had spearfished. So illegal method, trash bags full of fish that they were going to take home, and the game warden gets them. And
Is it an illegal method?
I think
just
where it was in
You
Georgia,
can bow fish, right?
it wasn't
Yeah,
the same.
you could bow fish.
But it was the species that they were fishing. Okay, they were spearfishing for bass, and I don't think you can do that.
That's just,
In a
which is
lake.
odd to me because what Native Americans, what,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you got to go to the reservation. For
So
that.
they had 8. So not only were like the size and stuff wrong, but they had 18 fish in the trash bag.
Is there a
18.
limit to bass here in Ohio?
Yeah, I think it's like 5 per
piece.
Oh,
person.
wow.
I think.
yeah, it is.
Um,
The Hunt Fish Ohio app that you keep your license on.
which I have.
They have everything there. So it's really nice. You can just pull it up, and for each, like, it'll say, Lake Erie, you're able to do this, this, and this, or freshwater lakes, you're able to do this, this, this. It breaks it down really nice.
So they had 18 that they caught illegally, all kinds of sizes, different species, and they bury it in the woods when the game warden comes up. So they got this trash bag and it's just throw it into the woods. And
Now they're littering.
And now that, so all of this starts to add up, you know, like all of it's like a crime scene. Like, but we've all been there where we've done silly things, but they had full intentions on just doing whatever. And so the DNR rolls up, finds these guys spear fishing fish, and then there's trash bags full of fish in the woods. And long story short, they were arrested for this. So
Not a surprise.
not like, it's not just a slap. I guess like for me, it was always growing up, it was always the fear of like, they're going to take your stuff. They're going to take your stuff. You're going to get fined your stuff. They're going to take your stuff. No, like it's a big deal. Like to follow the rules is a big deal. Like you gotta follow regulations and guidelines, or you could be arrested.
I will say that when I was training with the Elyria Police Department.
Sean was a highway patrol.
No, I wasn't. Stop saying that.
Auxiliary highway
I
patrol.
was not auxiliary highway patrol. I worked auxiliary for Elyria Police Department. I tried to be a state trooper. That was a different time. But this story comes from when I was with the Elyria Police Department, and I was doing something with the sheriff's office, and we were at the jail.
Oh, he's a deputy too. Goodness. Be careful what you say around this guy.
a little irritable.
No, we were at the jail, and we were talking about something like, and there was like 2 guys that were in there serving 6 months for fishing license violations.
Those guys that cheated
Probably these
in the fishing tournament.
I don't think they were out of Lorraine, were they? I mean,
No, it was in Ohio.
That's the next
yeah,
story.
when they were
yeah.
putting the weights.
I mean, that's very possible. 'Cause
So that was in 2022.
what, the weights?
The walleye guys.
Oh,
yeah.
this was before then. Yeah. This was like 2015.
Well, those guys, I mean, I think they got sentenced to time, and I mean, they were making millions.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was like
Crazy. They were winning boats. And
Yeah.
2022. It was like $100,000 worth of tournament winnings and trucks and boats and all kinds of different things. Jacob and Chase, not our Chase.
Was it a couple? They estimated like, I think 1.2 million over a couple.
It was so much.
we got
man.
weights and fish.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was
still
so
see that
funny.
video.
It's still viral. Like it's still a thing that
If,
goes
if
up.
anybody's seen that happened like probably an hour from here.
Yeah. So what they did was they were not only with lead weights with their
Old fish.
they were fillets of other fish.
Yeah, they were supposed to
oh my
donate.
gosh.
There's when people win, usually they donate the fish to like the local food banks or whatever. It goes to a good cause. They were not donating. They were keeping them to cut them up into stuff to fish for the next tournament.
They were. You've heard of the turducken? They were at like Thanksgiving where they're putting like all kinds of birds inside of birds. It's like fish on fish.
ducking.
That's funny.
That's so
Actually
crazy.
in the Red Crest, the last weekend's tournament, somebody caught one that had a leech on it. It was a pretty big leech, and then he weighed it with the leech on, and then took the leech off for the fish. It's legal because it's natural. He didn't, you know.
Yeah.
Somehow this bass swallowed a 6-pounder.
Yeah.
So Yeah, those guys though, they went to jail, criminal charges.
I couldn't imagine how embarrassed they felt.
Oh my gosh, hundreds.
Or in fear for their life in that
They had
mob.
they got rid of the $100,000 boat. They had to get rid of that, and they were banned from fishing in tournaments in Ohio
Didn't they ban them
outright.
for? They never have a
Nationwide.
fishing license, I believe.
It's crazy.
Probably.
Yeah, I think because they just got sentenced. Was it last year?
Wow. You'll never fish again unless it's a
Yeah.
private pond.
All for what? Just a trophy and a paycheck. All because they couldn't. They just didn't follow the rules.
I mean,
They
how
wanted
would
to
you
win
feel
so
that
bad.
you win the tournament, right? Does that satisfy you? You know you've cheated.
Yeah. It's like sin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
You stole.
oh, darn, I did that again.
Oh, I got another pass. I got another boat.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with all these boats?
I feel bad. All right, now I don't anymore. God forgave me.
Yeah. So yeah, there is integrity matters, right?
Oh, for
whether
sure.
whether it's like fishing or just in real life, it matters.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, how could you live with yourself? Like every day you walk outside and you see your boat in the garage or wherever. You keep
They took that.
I know. Well, like
Yeah.
no, I'm saying like while they're
Until
doing
then,
this, the
yeah.
years of
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Well, the Bible talks about
Hey, bro, we're gonna go do that tournament next week. You got the weights?
Yeah. You got those fish from the last tournament that we were supposed to give to the hungry people.
well, they're winning. That's the thing with sin, and the Bible talks about people who have their conscience seared like it's a hot iron, right, on their conscience.
Judas.
But sin is fun.
Of course he.
Sin is fun he's like, say for a season. you waited a little too long.
Yeah, you
But-
paused.
Sin is fun for a season, and it is pleasing to fall into these things. These guys were feeling the reward of their deceit, right? They were rewarded for it. The money was there, the fish were there, the prizes were there, the fame was there, everything was happening, and it was all done illegally and by the wrong means, but it was working. And so that's such a trap, because for how long, you ask, how could you live with yourself? Well, every day that they win, that feeling of guilt goes away, because they're validated by the success.
Man, I would be like, I hope we don't get caught. Like that anxiety of not getting caught would weigh me down.
Well,
so much.
most criminals, right, when they've committed a crime, they don't really get caught like
The first
because
time.
of the crime. They get caught because they're paranoid now and they're
Yeah.
doing things to try to cover it up, and that's where you get caught.
Yeah. I think just they've done it for so long that they just have it's just second nature now.
I guess that's one way to not have to have a real job and just make money on the water. But I don't know. I just don't feel right. I know a guy, like you were saying, that, poaching and hunting, I've experienced more of that than I have fishing.
Same.
Like I know a guy, we used to be be on the hunting lease together. And a lot of these people are now like in ministry, but they were talking about, we had like a cook cabin, and we would get together and we would cook and make breakfast after our morning hunt. And then we'd go back in the afternoon and hunt, but they would just tell stories about like before being saved. And, one of the guys was telling us that he used to be part of this group. They would get very intoxicated, and then have you ever heard of the Natchez Trace?
Mm-mm.
It's like a long road. I mean, deer everywhere. Okay. So they would, wait till it got really cold. They would have lots of bricks and stuff in the back of their trucks, and they would take these pine tops, so little limbs with just pine needles, right? They would stuff that in the back of the truck, and they would have one driver. I would have another guy spotlighting, and they would drive down the Natchez Trace, and they would go pretty good speed. They would spotlight, and then they would take turns by taking these bricks. And whenever they saw a deer, they would throw it at these bricks because, have you ever spotlighted a deer with a spotlight, right? It causes them to freeze.
So they threw the bricks at the
They
deer?
would throw the bricks at the deer. And because of the rate of speed that they were going in the truck, when the brick would hit the deer, it'd kill it.
What?
It would run off to the side, and it would die. So every time they hit a deer, they would miss a lot, but every time they hit a deer, they would throw a pine top out. They would keep going, and they would wait until right before daybreak. It was really cold, so the deer's not expiring or anything. They would go and they would unload everything. They would get back in their truck, and they would drive down, and everywhere there's a pine top, they would hop out, find the deer real quick, throw it in the back of the truck.
That's crazy.
Keep going. And they would come back with 10 deer in the back of the truck.
Wow.
Hurry up, skin it, throw it in the freezer. And they had meat, abundance of meat.
Wow.
But
They never got caught.
no, they never got caught.
What was their name? I'm just kidding.
John and Matt Miller.
Unfortunately, he passed away well before his time. But
You know, there's a way that you could probably like, I don't want to like justify like a crime, but if it wasn't like obviously shot or something, you could go back the next day and call the law and be like, hey, I found a dead deer. Can I get a tag to take the deer?
yes,
and
but
almost legally
this
take
was
it.
routine though.
Oh,
This was hey, let's do the brick throwing thing we usually do when we
So
get intoxicated.
That is crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, that was like, very, very sad.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
That's not the way to do it. These deer, you got to give, like, to me, in my opinion, this is my opinion, but hunting should be exactly what it sounds. You should be able to hunt the deer, not ride around. You know where they're going to be and put a spotlight on them. And I may or may not have killed rabbits at night when I was very young.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it just shows growth too. But
When I'm a teenager, you don't think about those things.
Yeah.
integrity.
I was a teenager and killed. The statute of limitations is exceeded now, but I've killed turkey outside of season during squirrel season before when I was like 15. Yeah. It was sad.
Yeah.
Sad looking back on it.
Yeah. And you learn.
Statute of limitations, DNR.
Well, and you learn from your mistakes. And the point is that, good things in life can be achieved by doing it the right way. Right. And as believers, as Christians, we need to have integrity. And so the Bible says to follow the law of the land, but also like, what example? Like, you're not going to give a good example of Christ if you're poaching and you're killing turkey out of season, or you're on your kayak without your life jacket. Like, it just takes one moment of somebody to see you slipping to ruin your witness. Like, you got to have integrity. And within the fishing world, we talked about the poachers who did the walleye thing. We talked about the spear fishermen and everything. But there's a man who was on the opposite side of this. His name was Drew Benton. And he was in a fishing tournament. It was the Bassmaster Elite Series tournament. Okay, it was the big
Junk.
times. Okay, and then he has an opinion to
That
ruin the story.
series is junk.
Either way,
I'm serious. Everybody's leaving that.
Let me hear this. Let me just say this story.
Everybody's leaving that tournament.
Okay.
That series.
Anyways, Drew Benton is at this tournament and he's fishing, and he realized while he was fishing that he had broken a rule. Okay, so the day before he went out and he was fishing or whatever, and he was in a no like scope zone, like you couldn't see this spot before you fished the tournament, and nobody saw him go see this spot. Nobody saw him go out the other day and find this spot.
This was recent, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he goes, and instead of just saying whatever, nobody saw me, he had a clear chance to fish this spot that he had found on a previous day. Instead of just saying, whatever, nobody saw, it doesn't matter, I might not even fish there anyway, he tells on himself, hey, I think I broke a rule. I found this fishing spot. It was in a no zone. I didn't know that. And he was like counted out of the weigh-in for that day. And so rather than just fish, knowing that he broke the rule, he was honest. Mm. And he was honest, and he told on himself. Nobody saw him. There were no cameras. There were no judges or angry people or other fishermen out. But he could have went out and he could have cleaned house, caught all the fish, and potentially won the tournament having this inside knowledge of the spot, right? But he walks to the officials on his own and he says, I messed up. And that's like integrity, right? That's something that means something.
I'm pretty sure the way he found it was one of his friends told him about it, which is illegal. Is that the story you saw?
I'm not sure.
Somebody told him that, or something like that.
I don't know. I think it was what I read is that he found a spot. I didn't really say how he found it, but he found a spot that was in a no fish zone the previous day. And instead of just going with that knowledge, he told on himself, and he stood by it. And he said the reasoning, but when he was asked about it, because he could have potentially won with this knowledge, right, before the big fish were or whatever. But instead of just rolling with it, he told on himself. He had integrity. He came clean. They counted him out for the weigh-in that day, and his sponsors all stayed with him because of this. Nobody dropped him. Everybody stood by him, and his reputation was that of character and integrity rather than a cheat.
It'd be hard to question him going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the lesson to that is like honesty. It might cost you the tournament today, right? He didn't win that tournament. But his integrity will carry him much further than the winnings of one tournament would have.
And you kind of root for that guy now too.
Yeah.
That just happened a month or so ago in the golf world. Thigala is his name. And he was like in contention, and he was in a bunker. And if you don't know much about golf, when you're in the bunker, you're not supposed to ground your club, or you're not supposed to touch any grain of sand until you hit the ball. So practice shots, when you're coming back to hit the ball, you cannot. Well, in his eye, when he went to go back, he thought he saw a couple of grains of sand move.
Mm-hmm.
And he called the official over and says, "Hey, and everybody was like, no, we didn't see that. We didn't see that." The TV analyst was like, "We didn't see him touch the sand at all." But like, he knew that it would be better to just be honest and for his conscience to be clear than to, and they penalized him a couple strokes. And I forget what he ended up placing on that tournament. It was still pretty high, I believe. But if he would have had those 2 strokes back, it could have changed everything. He could have won millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I root for that guy so much more now. Knowing like he wants a clear integrity.
Yeah, it matters. And the fisherman Drew he said, when asked about it later, he said it wasn't worth compromising who I am for a few pounds of fish.
I love that.
Yeah.
And man, what a stark contrast to 18 bass in a spearfishing trash bag in the
He'll
woods.
be fishing in the MLF soon.
Right. I know very little about your tournaments.
In my opinion, Sean, I'll fish in any professional.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care what.
So the Bassmaster series has turned into a bunch of like to be like
crybabies.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're crying over everything. It's like it's so crazy.
It used to be the premier.
Yeah, and now MLF is the premier.
Well,
now.
this guy's pretty solid. Then
that's why I say he'll probably be in the MLF next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, like some of the big names are still dropping out. Like even right now in the middle of the season, they're dropping out and leaving. I'm surprised Mike Iaconelli is still in, like the old school.
They're
OG
probably
guys.
paying him a lot to stay. I mean, that's probably what's holding the league still together.
Edwin Evers, he's fishing MLF now, like big name, old OG, like always Bassmaster guy.
I hope it stays because it allows some of the younger guys to have a place to fish too. It's okay to have two.
Did you see all the flack that I think it's Drew Gill or something? This young kid, like 19, 20 years old, won the Classic 2 weeks ago
for staring at the screen so long.
They were so like it's in the rules. You're allowed to use it for one period.
Yeah. If you don't utilize the rule, it's on you.
Did they change it now to where it's
that is the change.
Oh, okay,
is you can only use it one period a day.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. But if you're not there, aren't they using it?
Yeah, it's on their boat. Yeah. Why are you complaining about it?
It's because they lost. Crazy. And again, integrity and
the kid can't even enjoy like winning the Super Bowl of the Bassmaster.
Did you see? I get this reel of the week. Did you see the reel of this? Might be something completely different, but it might not have been in a tournament. But there was this guy, there's this young kid on a boat fishing, and this boat comes flying up on him.
Yeah,
and they're like, he gets on the kid's boat, he's cussing him out. Yeah. I'm like,
there's so many memes. I went, the boat's for sale,
dude. It's not that serious, so and man, that's so hard to watch.
Dude,
like,
that
older
dude,
men,
I'm just saying, I've never been in a fight, but as soon as that guy steps on my boat.
In the water.
Yeah, I've been in those situations where we're not tournament fishing, but we're fishing and someone comes right in on you.
Well, this guy, like the video shows the guy come from literally across the lake to come and like assault a kid.
I don't understand that.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
How
Like,
many-
this is the
what do they
world
call
of, you're on camera.
Doc Karens.
Yeah. Oh, it's just,
If you're going to live on the water,
Yeah, expect it.
yeah.
you don't own the water.
Yeah.
It's different. I do understand when people are casting up and
Yeah, under the docks.
under the docks.
Under their slips.
But if you're a professional and you're not,
It
you
doesn't.
know,
yeah, you're not hitting
You can't own,
as a
you
pro.
don't own the
Yeah.
water. You don't
Yeah.
own the water.
but
I can't
I
wait
just
to
saw-
fish Lake Milton for that reason.
yeah, I just saw a reel the other day. There's a guy, he's a pro. I forget what his name is, but he wasn't tournament fishing or anything. And then he was just joy fishing, and he's out there and he rolled up on a guy, and he's like, "Hey," the guy, the owner of the house right there. He's like, "Hey man, my grandson just caught an 8-pounder and like a 10-pounder right over here.
Oh.
He was using this. He wasn't tournament fishing.
Oh.
Yeah, he goes, okay, what was he using? He goes, hey, aren't you? And he's like, oh, my grandson loves you. And the guy like got into his tackle box and got a whole bunch of like
Oh, that's cool.
lures and
Yeah.
stuff, and just said, hey, make sure your grandson gets this. Took a picture with it.
That's see.
I was like, you know, if more Doc Karens were like that,
Yeah.
man, so much more cool experiences
and
could happen.
instead of let me fly across the lake to cuss out this kid and get on his boat and
That was on
commit
the
a
ocean.
crime.
That was down in Florida.
It's so crazy. Like, what kind of message are you sending? And we talked about, like
I'm the best charter captain they've ever seen.
ridiculous, crazy. And he's like, dude, the kid is literally saying, I'm just a kid.
It wasn't even me. He's like, it wasn't even me. I was here, but it wasn't even me.
Yeah, just wild. Like, I can't believe that people are like, it is not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I
Like,
do understand some of those captains. They've been there for many, many years.
Yeah.
And then everybody thinks they can be a captain now.
Yeah.
And it's taking away their business.
but is that not
But-
crime to jump on somebody else's boat? How is he not in jail?
Oh, he should
Oh,
be.
he probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be.
That was
Yeah.
definitely assault.
You can't get on somebody else's boat like that.
No.
That's their problem.
Especially with that like intent.
Yeah,
Question is if he considers that his houseboat.
it does. Yeah.
What's the
Well-
law in Florida?
No, that's castle doctrine.
Is it
Yeah.
Castle
Is your
Doctrine?
boat considered?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You,
Well,
yeah. I'm not going to say on air, but
he's lucky. Let's just
castle
say
doctrine is there for a reason.
he's lucky.
old guys.
But yeah, it's just all about integrity. That's another part of integrity. Is like, don't lose your cool over something so silly.
That
you
dude
know?
could have lost his life.
He really
Oh,
could.
for
Because
sure.
that could have been interpreted as I'm afraid for my life. And if that kid was
He would-
carrying,
you could see
he
the kid.
totally could have justified
The kid was scared.
Yeah.
Like, he was like
Yeah, he
trying
got shook
everything to de-escalate the situation. He tried everything,
Yeah.
and it's like all these people. Like, just take a
This,
second.
the moment the guy was like, "Take me back to my boat," I'd been like, "No."
water.
I would have just took off, like way out in the
to your
middle of the ocean.
Swim.
No way, I'm taking you back to your boat.
Chum yourself. back
I'm
to
not
your
doing
boat.
you any favors.
No way. That's crazy.
So that was on like out in the Gulf or something?
No,
Florida, I
that was down, somewhere in Florida, probably like West Coast Florida area, I think.
Fun times.
Yeah, it's
Probably
wild.
Clearwater.
Just have some. Yeah, just I don't know. Have some character and integrity. It's just not there anymore for a lot of people, especially in this area.
We were out like not far from the Gulf. Okay, we were fishing for speckled trout, and we were out a ways, and there was like 3 different boats in our group. We know each other, and it was me, my dad, my brother, my best friend Ernie, and his dad. Like, we're always fishing together, speckled trout fishing, and here comes another boat in our group. Like, we're catching fish. Here they come. Oh, right where we're casting, And it's like,
Yeah,
guys,
That's a thing on Lake Erie too.
it's so
it's like,
frustrating.
what are you doing?
Here's why. Because I've been out there on Lake Erie when I used to run my father-in-law's boat. You see the charter boats out there, and that's where you go. Because the charter guys find the fish. So everybody piles up on the charter
That's so
boats.
crazy. But we're
Yeah.
not a charter, though.
Yeah, right.
We're
Right.
just.
But if you see a group of boats, you're like, oh, they must be on fish.
That's so wild.
And it's in such a big body of water.
Yeah, just
like you
go.
don't.
I'd rather
it's
be
hard
alone.
To, like when I started fishing Lake Erie, it was my first time on big water ever. It's like, how are you even going to find fish? Like, there's no banks to fish. Like, so that was my goal, is like find other boats.
Yeah.
I would rather, and this is I don't have a big boat, so this is kayak perspective. I would rather get skunked and be in a cove by myself than be shoulder to shoulder or like boat to boat with a bunch of other people. I'd rather get skunked.
Yeah.
I really would. I would rather not catch anything and enjoy outside and be by myself in this area rather than be shoulder to shoulder with people.
I had an awesome cove moment just recently.
Yeah.
It was me and my wife and my son now can fish together on the water.
That's awesome.
We snuck up in this cove. Nobody around. We got skunked, but and it like rain was starting to come in. And I'm just thinking in my mind, like, cause I've always kayaked fish. I'm like, man, we're so far away from like where we launched. Like, we got to give ourselves plenty of time to get out of here before the rain comes. And it's like, all right, let's pack up. It's like 6:45. We want to be out of the water by 7:15 or something. So giving ourselves like a half an hour. And dude, we were out of that cove a mile and a half from the launch and pulling out of the water with the truck before 7. It's like you can get anywhere so fast. It's so cool. But be so far away and feel so disconnected from everything. Awesome. I love it.
So like the point, I guess, of this episode would be that to have some integrity.
Don't poach.
Right. Don't poach. Follow the rules and carry yourself with kindness, in these situations that can be frustrating. Romans 13:1 says, let every soul be subject to higher powers, for there is no power but of God, the powers that be ordained by God. Okay. And so we think about all those things that we talked about and having integrity. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Sometimes it's hard to make the right decision. Sometimes it's hard to make the right call, especially when you're frustrated. It's easy to kind of lose your cool or to get upset, but you should always carry yourself with integrity, whether it's on the water and in regular life. Don't lose your witness. Don't lose your cool because you're frustrated or just for some, what's it worth? A few pounds of fish, it's just not worth it. And so we'll move on to overrated, underrated, and we'll give our final thoughts for this episode. Overrated, underrated, right, John? This one's for you. Okay. First one, and I got to ask, have you ever been spearfishing? And do you think spearfishing is overrated or underrated?
As a kid, I would take, shave off sticks into a spear and
or boat. We'll
never caught anything.
Extend it to bow fishing too.
I have a friend that bow fishes, but I've never been.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool. They'll go out at night, in the water, and then the lights underneath.
Lights
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I've never been.
I think it would be fun.
I think it's
underrated.
I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because that's a whole nother type of skill.
Yeah, and it's a whole setup.
Because you got refraction, you got to think about in the water, and
I got so much I want to invest in. That'd probably be the last thing.
yeah.
But I think it'd be really cool to go with someone that already has a setup.
Right.
Yeah. But I think our poachers in the story weren't bow fishing; they were just straight rainbow stabbing bass in the water. Like that's not.
Most bow fishers are fishing for carp, right?
Yeah, which that's one that I don't understand.
I don't know. Do you even keep them, or
No,
you just
they
kill
just-
them and throw them away?
No, they literally throw them on the bank to
That's
rot.
crazy.
That's what it.
There's a lot of carp in West Branch.
There's a lot of carp in that pond and snow. Stowe.
Yeah, that's the one fish I would probably never eat.
I've never caught one.
I've caught a
Me neither.
bunch.
I'm glad I haven't.
I used to go carp fishing a lot. It's fun. They fight well. They're big.
It's like
but-
sheep.
Yeah, but once you get them in,
same
aren't they
thing.
really? They put off this really oily.
Not really.
No idea.
Not really. It's just a big fish, and it's fun to catch, and that's about it. That's the catch and release for me. But a lot of people would be mad at that. and wanna
Sheephead, probably the same thing.
Throw them on the.
Sheephead in Lake Erie, throw them back.
Yeah, because they do compete.
Some
also
people
for-
kill them.
Yeah, a lot of people would get mad if you put them back in the water
Yep.
because they.
I've seen people. I used to fish the pier in Lorain all the time when I first moved to Ohio. That was where I would go, and people would literally are taking so gobies and sheephead. You just see them laying on the pier dead.
Really?
Just, yeah,
And
Weird.
It's not because they're invasive species, but they
I think
compete.
gobies are.
Yeah. Well, I mean the carp, but yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of fish are compete. That we talk about those trophy bass and calling off fish so that the right ones can grow big. These fish are competing for that same food, and so people and they're like zero worth to them. So People just would rather see them dead on the riverside.
Quick note back to carp. Never caught a carp. But if you've ever got a hold of a big redfish, that is a great fish to try to fight and catch.
Yeah.
They're bigger and they do fight really well.
Yeah,
That's fun.
That's cool, man.
A lot of good.
All right, so fishing wise, next one, live bait versus artificial. We talked about this a little bit. The bluegill on the hook, or what is it? What are those that you bought? The
Crush City.
Crush City.
Rapala.
I'm not a big live bait
Rapala.
guy. Now,
Meaning.
hold on. Saltwater live bait. Okay. Well, depending. But deep sea fishing.
Mhm.
Like one of the best trips I've had was we would go out and then we'd catch our own bait,
Mhm.
and then when you use that bait, we just caught to catch.
Yeah.
You know that
Live
was that was cool. That was fun.
Mhm.
But if I'm freshwater fishing, if I'm fishing around here, if I am even like going speckled trout fishing and stuff like that, lures all the way.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I like finesse
Some
fishing
people,
too.
some
so-
people think that a worm still beats the $9 plastic fish bait.
That's my wife.
Well,
Yeah.
when I
$9.
say, when you say worm, I'm using like wacky rig or something.
Yeah.
I'm not using an actual worm. Now,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the live worm. A
now
lot of
if
people
you
think the live
catch
worm
me in
is better.
Louisiana and we're going bluegill fishing,
Yeah,
I'm literally with a cane pole with a cricket.
yeah. That's
So that's different. You
Yeah.
know,
My wife's got 2 poles now. One is I'm trying to get her hooked on lures, so I got her set up with those white swim baits on one pole, and then she's like refusing to get rid of the bobber and hook for worms and minnows.
yeah. So I'll tell you this though, with lures, you have treble hooks,
Mm-hmm.
and like going way back to the story where we were like catching speckled trout and stuff, and they came up on us.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy Ernie ended our trip pretty quickly.
Yeah.
One year he casted and he whipped himself in the back, and it buried right in the middle of his back. The whole hook was like one of the treble hooks was in his back.
Yeah,
I think that
We had
you got to get that out fast.
Yeah, we
before
had
it
to lay him
hurts.
down, and we took ice from the ice chest.
Yeah.
And we like numbed his back, and we're pushing with all of our might. Numbed his back,
rip it.
pushing. You
You
can't.
don't just rip it. You gotta cut
You know,
the hook.
you have to get it out the other side because you can't back it up. It'll keep tearing your.
The
So
skin,
finally,
right.
when it came through, it popped.
Ugh.
It was like
La.
it popped,
Yeah.
and then we had to cut it off and then pull it out.
Yeah.
So
I've been looking at that a lot. I've realized how close we're fishing to each other on the boat. And with my family, I always say, like, okay, if this is the boat, like you can only cast this way or this way. Do not fling it front to back because we're going to get hooked.
yeah.
But I got like this whole first aid kit I got from the FSA store. But
YouTube is really good to watch on that kind of stuff.
yeah.
too.
So what I've heard most people say is like, if you don't get it out within like the first minute before it starts getting tender, it's going to hurt even worse.
Yeah.
So like, even if it didn't go all the way through, just grab pliers and push it down so it comes out straight, like push it back and just rip it through the barb as fast as you can.
Bro, I'm all about getting it all the way through the skin.
Yeah.
Like go ahead and finish the job.
Yeah.
And then cutting it off, and then it'll easily
I hope
come
I
out.
never have to experience
The reason
that.
why is because when you're pulling, dude, you're ripping. You're ripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Meat.
longer recovery.
So
I just hope I never have to.
and then
experience it.
always, of course, go get a shot. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a whole. Yeah,
I would say this: YouTube that stuff up, but always carry ice on your boat too to help numb. I've had my glasses and my hat knocked off my head. I've hooked. I think it was my dad. I've hooked him in the ear. Yeah, well,
tough.
it happens. It will happen at some point.
I hope I never.
I always
that
wear
happen.
glasses when I fish with other people.
Yeah.
I try to wear glasses because I don't want to get hooked in the eye.
Yeah.
I'd rather my glasses get ripped off than a hook in my eye. So.
Never cast towards each other. Cast away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man,
That's the rule in my boat.
yeah. How we doing?
We are at 120.
Nice. All right. Well, before we end this episode, I'll give you your last cast. Anything else you want to share with the audience today?
Last cast.
Mm-hmm.
Get out and fish.
Yeah.
Hey.
Get out and fish.
Let's go.
Fish for souls. Fish for fish.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Do the great, fulfill the great commission and go fishing.
Hey, that's a t-shirt.
So, but yeah, man, my goal this summer is to golf a lot, fish a lot, spend like with my family.
Yeah.
Golfing probably not so much, but just being outdoors.
Yeah.
Because being in Ohio, bringing back weather again, we're so crammed in the house so long. Take advantage of the nice weather when it does get here. So I want to take full advantage of that. Son's in baseball, so we're going to be outside.
Nice.
But beyond that, spend more time helping them cast versus me just going out and fishing too. But just take the family out.
Yeah.
Go fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got anything you want to say?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I'll leave you with this. Integrity doesn't just start in the spotlight. It's lived out in the everyday moments of life. You got to carry yourself with integrity and follow God's word all throughout your life. And whether it's in a bass tournament, which I have not done, and maybe we get into that this year, but or it's just in everyday life, be faithful in the small things. Carry yourself with integrity and in character for the big moments as well. God sees everything. And in a world full of shortcuts and shady dealings, honesty is really important, especially as a believer. So stay faithful. Be the guy who tells the truth, even if it costs you your trophy. Follow regulations, follow rules. And we just want to thank you for tuning in today. If this episode was special to you, or if it hit home to you, do us a solid and share it with someone. Like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review on Spotify, YouTube. We also have a new store, which we'll do a plug for this later, but we have a new store. It's in our Instagram bio. You can find it in our link tree. We got all kinds of stuff, merch, t-shirts, hats, cups, all kinds of different things. So come check that out. But until next time, we will see you next Friday.
Later.
Like, comment, and subscribe